Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. As you know, I love to hear where you are in the world. So please, by all means, do put a chat comment, and we'd love to know where you're at. So I'm the founder and CEO of Civility Partners. We're a training and consulting firm focused on turning around toxic work environments and creating positive environments. We do that through workforce surveys. We help create action plans for change after the survey is over. We certainly do tons of training. And we also specialize in coaching leaders accused of being abrasive. And we look at culture through behavior change, organizational change, and leadership. And so if you're interested in talking about any of that stuff with us, by all means, let me know. I'm going to switch away from the slides now. Today I have Cindi Cohn. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here, Catherine.
I am too, because you're the queen of joy, and you like to showcase your commitment to understanding and supporting individuals in their journey towards mental and emotional well-being. And you've written 2 books.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit more about yourself, and let's jump in.
Right. So thank you. That was a pretty nice introduction. I appreciate that. I am known as the Queen of Joy on LinkedIn. I didn't actually come up with that name myself. People just started doing the hashtag Queen of Joy, and it stuck.
Wow.
Literally. Yeah. And I'll take it. But
yeah.
Nothing comes from a place of like that I have this perfect, amazing life. You have to go through valleys to get to the mountaintop. A lot of the times we turn our pain into our purpose. And that's how joy came to me, is through a very rough time in my life, with some depression and crawling myself out of it, and doing so with so much more joy. And that's how the books came to be. So I'm just adamant about everyone. It doesn't matter what situation that you're walking in, that you can have more joy in the workplace, in your community, at home. It doesn't matter what you're actually sitting in at the moment, because I was not sitting in a pretty place, but you actually have the power to choose to have more joy and crawl yourself out of it. And that's what some of the books are about. Behavior changes and things you can do to have more joy in your life.
I love that. And I also appreciate that you're talking about crawling out. I use that phrase a lot myself, actually, that crawling out of a hole. It requires some serious mental focus and joy, and enjoying the ride as opposed to the destination, for sure.
We're speaking the same language. That's probably why you invited me on the show.
That's 100%. So what, tell us a little bit more about some of what the tips are in your book.
So the more joy really is my passion, like just how I live my life, to inspire everyone in my path to have more joy despite the circumstances. But I'm also very passionate about people are at their workplace more than 8 hours a day. So when we go to work, we are more than just an employee. We bring everything with us there, right? And if employers need to realize what's sitting in their chair, that we are not just an employee, like we're a human, and we come with so many issues, like to work, maybe your car didn't work, you have childcare issues, you can't pay a bill. I mean, I can go on and on, right? Those are real happening problems for almost everybody, right? So we're coming to work with things on our plate, a little bit distracted. And I feel like in today's day, in order to retain employees and to have happiness at work, we have to look at how we can holistically help the person professionally and personally. So that's where the joy comes in, because I want to bring as much joy to the workplace, because we're all capable of having that. And then that leads to thriving workplaces and productivity and retention. I mean, who doesn't want more joy? Oh, wait.
I think everybody wants more joy. Yeah. So give me one tip. If I, maybe something from your book or something off the top of your head, if I'm not feeling super joyous today, what's something that I could do right now to kind of help bring the joy back into my day today?
Great question. So whatever you focus on is going to expand. So if you
Mm-hmm.
focus on something positive, more positive will be drawn to you. So just something simple as, it's not even simple, but gratitude is the root of joy. So if you just focus on 3 to 5 things that you are grateful for, and there is always, always something to be grateful for. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you're alive, you woke up, you have eyesight. Okay, just the very basic human needs are something that we should all be grateful for every day, because it is a gift. We aren't guaranteed tomorrow or the next day. So
Yeah.
just focusing on the good, the things that are going right in your life, for 5 minutes will change your mindset. And over 30 days, actually, you can rewire your brain to see the world in a more positive way just from focusing on gratitude for 5 minutes a day.
Okay. And I love that. I know there's a lot of research that says if
It
you
is.
even just write down something you're grateful for, it definitely, and it can be small, right? It doesn't have to be, oh, thank goodness I have this
Right.
beautiful office in San Diego. It could be, I'm so thankful that, I don't know, I had
You
that
like
really
a cup
great
of
donut
coffee.
this morning.
Yeah.
I have an orange tree in my yard and it happens to produce great or
Right.
tangerines. So
That is, honestly, that's a big deal. For me, the little things are the big things. And again, I put myself in places of workplace. It's the same thing. Everybody at work, those little details actually matter. To feel
mhm.
cared for at work is a game changer. People will just stay there forever if they feel that their employer cares about them and they actually feel it, not just empty words, like with actions, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I feel like we see this a lot with organizations where they'll say, like our rewards and recognition is, peer nominations for living a core value or something. And those
Right.
are nice. Don't not do that. But what about teaching managers to be more positive and gratitude, have gratitude or
Yeah.
facilitate positive conversations throughout the day? It's actually going to be wildly more successful than the once a month employee of the month type of a thing.
Right. It's those everyday daily actions. The little things are such the big things. I was talking to an HR leader yesterday, and that person was saying how even little things like, instead of just saying good morning to an employee and keep on walking because you have somewhere else to go, you're like en route, piece of paper, you're ready, right?
Yeah.
Like, I stop and I do now more than just the good morning, that nice greeting, and stop. Hey, how are you doing? How is your child? How was your weekend? Like, invest a little more time and care and effort. People see that. Like,
hmm
nobody wants the empty, how are you? Fine. I mean, right? We're beyond that.
Yeah. Why do we even say that? Right. What would you say? So some people would say, because I've heard them say it, well, I'm just not the kind of person who says good morning. That's not my jam. I like to just come in and stay focused. I'm not that, maybe if we're thinking about disc, I'm not a high I, which means you're super social.
Right.
What do we do with that?
So, I mean, I would say that you meet people where they're at in
hmm
life, right? I mean, I'm super energetic, but I will balance my energy based on the other person as well. Like, so you have to be aware of your audience, because I could come off way too much energetic for some people, right? I know that about myself. So it's that self-awareness, right? And
hmm
knowing what other people need. And if you spend time with people and you get to know them and you build relationships, that connectedness is just priceless, honestly.
That makes sense. Meet people where they are, and yeah, give them the type of greeting that works for them. And yeah,
Right?
some of us who are more energetic maybe
Right.
need to tone it down a little bit. Give us some tips. So speaking of managers and kind of going beyond the formal, rewards and recognition,
Right.
what's a good tip or two for managers of teams other than, meeting people where they are, or saying good morning? How can a manager bring joy despite all of the heavy workload, and maybe they're in an organization where joy and fun isn't necessarily part of the culture? Give some managers some tips.
Okay, so that is a great question. So I talk about this all the time. In people, basic humanity, everybody wants. We have one thing. I mean, we might have more, but one definite thing in common, and that is we all want to be seen, heard, valued, understood. Right? It's that almost that we all need love, and if you
Mhm.
want to really boil it down to the down to the
It's
down,
very true.
right. We all have that in common as humans. So it's so simple is if you look at the individual first as a human, and you treat them with the kindness and the respect and the be present when I'm talking to you and I'm listening to you and I'm understanding you. I see you. I understand. I'm empathetic to you. I've maybe walked in your shoes. That's a whole nother, if everyone
Yeah.
just met each other at that basic level, nothing else would need to be done. Everything would just take care of itself because that's what people want and need
Mhm.
physiologically, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think
I was going to say, I often say we need to feel valued as much as we need food and
right,
sleep. It's really true. Really,
right.
really.
And we have to honor people. Like we have to make rest not seem like it's a bad thing. Because without rest, there's no productivity. Like
Right.
for myself, if I don't fill myself up with joy, I cannot give out any joy. So for me, self-care and refilling myself is paramount because I need that energy to give back to my family, my friends, my community. Um,
Yeah.
but that's the same thing with HR leaders, right? They are giving, 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 giving. And it's kind of a lonely profession. Like they don't have a ton of support always from the top. They can't really always fraternize below, like because they manage them. It's like they're in this precarious position and they get drained and nobody's filling them back up. So we need to refresh our HR leaders so they can elevate. And when they can feel empowered and elevated and filled with joy, then they
Yeah.
should be able to ripple an effect out.
I love that. That's a great point. HR is a little bit of a thankless job. Those people who are internal HR, you've got demands from the boss, you've got
Right.
demands from the employees. You're supposed to kind of be on both sides so that everybody wins. You
Right.
can't fraternize with people.
Right.
You're blamed for things even if you don't have any power over it. It
Right.
is a tough spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Sherm, if you're listening, you need to have a massage spa at the
Well,
next
you bring it,
conference.
Catherine, you don't even know about Rock Enrollment that I work for. You just brought up something that we do. So
Okay, please do. Yeah.
we tie benefits to experiences. So instead of people just like when we go and we ask an HR person or someone at the committee, so why do you offer benefits? Right? They're like, duh, like we have to. It's an expectation, right? In today's world, all the people working, like the younger people, they've never not had benefits, right?
Right.
So it's an expectation. And now not those expectations are even a lot higher in that they want to be met where they are. It's not good enough just to have standard. I mean, we're not one size fits all.
Right.
They do deserve to have options and inclusivity. They do. And so we need to, with the future work, come around that. And that's what we do at Rock Enrollment, is we tie their benefits to year-round experiences that we provide. Like we have a Sprinter van. We show up at companies with pickleball, like you said, spas, music, DJ, like we bring experiences, but they're tied to benefits. So they see that the wellness involved and learn about how it all, and then they're like more grateful too, which we talk about gratitude. When you have more gratitude, you have more joy. It's like a cycle of perfectness.
Is that your tagline? We provide
I
a
just
cycle
made
of
it up.
I like how you said perfectness. I love that.
I did.
We're like good on this. I'm
But
like,
it all makes so much
make
sense.
a word if you just put ness at the end. That's awesome. No, I agree. I can think of you're right. Benefits are not, it's not really a bonus or a benefit or it's not extra anymore.
Right.
It just is. And then even with the younger generation, not, they're getting married later and that type of thing. So like great benefits great health benefits that cover your family. Well, these days people are having kids later and later. So people don't care about that through their 20s and into their 30s.
Right.
Yeah. So you got to find some other ways.
We talk about like what they do care about now, though, are so much more. Like they want like a spending account so they can use it for what they choose to pay.
Right.
And what's wrong with that, right? We have that too at Rocket Moment, where they could pick from various wellness apps and stores. I mean, we are not all the same in that way. We all do have choices. And I feel like that's what the future of work is about, really, is embracing. Let's meet people where they're at. Let's give them what they need so that when they show up to work, they're feeling fulfilled, right?
Right.
Because they're not just an employee.
I know, it's so funny that we're still having this conversation, because it seems like we've been saying it for a while, but it's still so many. I mean, you and I wouldn't really be in business if CEOs understood just that they're people, right? I often joke, I can't believe I have a business around toxic behavior and have to convince leaders a lot of the time, I partner with HR to get to leaders like, here's why this is important. Right. It's also just common sense, but okay.
It is just common sense. Like, I just wrote on someone's post today. It was about kindness in the workplace. And I'm like, should we even be having this conversation? Like, is that something? I feel like we all should just assume that kindness is the protocol.
Unfortunately, it's not. So talk to me about HR. Let's go back to them, because you had said, I hadn't thought about that before to that extent, that they are in a pretty solo place, and they probably just have their other HR team members really to hang out with. What are some things, let's say you're an HR department of one or two, or in a larger department, like what are some things HR could do to take back their joy?
Great question. And that's something I work on all day long. So the first thing I always say is take time off. Okay. It could be at night. You could be in the bath. Doesn't mean like you need to have a 3-year vacation, but you need to spend some time self-reflecting on, why did I get into HR? Because we're so busy doing that we forget, why did we get into HR, and do I still love it? I mean, the last 4 years for most HR have been tumultuous, to say the least. And they've been forced to do things that they never thought they would have to do, and deal with such complicated issues that they weren't prepared for, and there was no guidebook for. Right? It's very, very difficult. They were hit really hard. And it's still going on. So reflect on why you got in, because most people got in because they love people, but they've not forget, but it's been like overshadowed by all the stuff that they have to do that they didn't necessarily want to do or sign up to do when they first got into the position. So reflect on that. Go back to your purpose, right? When you really remember your purpose and then you take actions based on that, like you could say, you know what? I got into here because I really wanted to change some things. I really wanted it to bring more creativity into the workplace. I really wanted, for employees to, feel whatever you connect with that will help you have more joy. And a lot of self-care, like I said, I do for myself. Self-care is not selfish. It is absolutely critical for survival. And I will fight anyone on that all day long. Because it is so important, self-wellness. And again, it goes back to, I do think the employers should wrap themselves around the wellness emotionally and physically. It's not just standard benefits, but it goes beyond those to things that, totally, surround and make it holistic around the person. Same thing for HR deserves. Why can't they go on retreats and get refreshed? I mean, if they're not refreshed, how are they going to give out and emulate and pour into their people?
Right.
And our people are our most valuable asset, but they're often not treated that way either. It's just here to make a change, here to revolutionize the workforce.
Right. Yes, I love everything that. Yes, amen. I love everything you're saying. I'm a single mom, and I'm really working on boundaries with my 4 and 10-year-old. Like, I have to be able to shower without hearing screaming you know what I mean, or like, mom, and I'm like, I'm in the shower,
Yes,
and
you know.
it's been hard because we're a little pack of three, but I keep thinking lately about the putting your mask on first in the airplane,
Right.
because you can't help
True.
you can't help anybody else if you can't breathe. And
Right.
I mean, it's just that's really been sticking with me, like the little bit of guilt when I lock the door, but it's like I'm allowed to have personal time.
Yes, you
Really, I am. And I can't be a good mom if I don't also get that sometimes. And same for work.
absolutely.
Because HR ends up putting out so many fires. And I think we need to just continue to convince employers that you can't be having one HR person for 300 people, because you will suck the life out of them,
Right.
right? You
Doesn't
got to
work.
have people to put out where you put out the fires sometimes, but you're also doing the fun stuff, like the
Right.
culture stuff, or planning events, or figuring
Exactly.
out what fun things you can do with the core values beyond the pure nomination thing.
Right. And you
It's
take care of your employees, everything else gets taken care of. Their
yeah,
ROI will go way up, production, everything. All you have
yeah,
to do is focus on your employees, and then they will focus on you, and they will increase everything. It's just so
exactly.
cool.
There's less fires if people are happy, and then
And
they're not harassing you about the benefits or whatever, because
right.
it's all flowing a little bit better. Yeah.
Exactly. It's just
Yeah.
so simple. Yet it's not apparently.
No, it's not. Yeah. We have a client now where the one HR person, I just feel like she always looks so exhausted, and my heart goes out to her, and I'm just like, you need a vacation.
Yes. Well, it's
Ugh,
sad because they'll take a vacation, and the problem is when they come back, because we do these HR refresh for HR teams,
right.
and they come back and it's like they're way behind, and then they're more exhausted, and it's just too unfair that they just can't catch a break sometimes.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have any thoughts about how many HR people, or what's the ratio of HR to employee count? Any thoughts on that?
I don't. Do you know about what that looks like?
I feel like it used to be one for every 100 employees. I've heard. I don't know where I heard that, but I feel like I've also heard recently maybe it's more like 50, because things have
Mhm.
gotten so much more complicated. We have a couple comments from Angel. One is, bosses, take your employees out for coffee and really ask. And then she said, bring your artwork and show them to the kids when they come to the office. Your kids will know you are a part of their work life.
Uh,
I do have some art from the children for sure. I've got a couple of things around. I should bring them to work. I'll do a cat's corner with them.
that would be really cute. Yeah, that would be really cute.
Here's my crazy life at home. So this is totally irrelevant and random, but on Monday I did a State of the Union meeting for all of my staff and contractors and everybody. And so there's like 25 people on this call, and I had to take it from home because my daughter's school was closed that day. And then my son had gotten into trouble at school, and they wanted him to come home and not be there for the day
Mhm.
at daycare. And so there's so many times where I'm pausing, like, hold on, please. Could you guys be quiet?
But even if you weren't at home, I grew up, my kids also, I worked from home my entire career. And I thought I was being a great mom because I was home with them. They will tell you to this day, it was like the worst thing ever because I was always shushing them, always giving them a hand. Shh,
Yeah.
quiet, I'm on a call.
Yeah.
But I thought I was doing a great job. But you bring up such a good point. Even if you weren't at home, you were at the office, your son would have still been needing to be picked up for that
Yep.
day, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
as an employee, you're sitting there, you're doing your work, you're also dealing with his school, right? It's like you need to feel your employer is empathetic to you and your problem, and that you don't then have to have the stress of ups. I feel like I'm letting my employer down, but I have to leave.
Right.
I have no one else. I'm a single mom. Again,
Right.
you're a perfect example of what goes on in the world, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've definitely just had to go with it, right? Actually, before that meeting, I had a call with a client and I saw the daycare call and I like denied it. And then I saw him call again. And I'm like, would you hold on? And so they all sat there. I was on mute, but they're all watching me, talk to the daycare about how, and I'm like, I will come after this meeting. But yeah, I just feel like you got to own it. And it does,
Yes.
maybe it's not totally related to joy, but in terms of reducing the stress for somebody to feel
Absolutely.
this is okay, that, my boss wouldn't be mad if they found out that I put a client meeting on hold while I talk to daycare, and just that's that flexible work, right? And anybody who claims to be inclusive as one of their initiatives or core values, you gotta allow for that. That's for sure.
I have a coworker. She has twins, 18-month-old boys. When we have meetings, she several times has been late they have just to wait for daycare to open and drop them off. Nobody thinks 2 cents about it, because that's part of just being a good human. We've all been there, done that.
Yep.
It'll be okay. She'll still do an awesome job at her work, right? I mean, give people respect and kindness, right?
Yeah. Well, and then we can go down the feminist track on that, right? Because if I was married and my son's acting up at daycare or sick and somebody has to go get him, generally, I think in a lot of instances, it's the female who's the one who's kind of like expected to go and deal with that. And then we're back to the conversation around why women make less, and because they're late to meetings because of their kids. Men aren't late to meetings as much because of their kids, and anyway, I'm going down a path. So I'm gonna put up the activity ID. Oops. Oh, wow. I didn't realize.
I feel like, Catherine, we might need another conversation, because I feel like we could go on for a few hours.
We totally could. Wait, I got to hold on. Let me go. While I locate the activity ID, if you would give us some final thoughts.
My final thought is to be kind, to be thankful for whatever position that you're in right now, because nothing should be taken for granted. We have to be grateful for whatever position that we're in, with whatever we have, and focus on what you do have versus what you don't and you lack. And you will be more positive. You will have more joy and happiness if you're focusing on the good things. And not only that, it will draw more positivity in your direction. So you'll have an abundance of more great things. So I'm reading the comments. Oh, yes. My coworker said the boys she brings her twin boys to calls, and I bring my dogs. I don't know if that is professional or not, but I don't care.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
To me, it's professional.
I don't know why I'm not able to show this particular slide that I'm looking at. So I'm just going to say the activity idea.
It showed up, Catherine.
But it was the wrong date, I'm pretty sure. Okay. So I don't know why the one slide that I'm looking at is not what shows up. So I'll give it to you all. It's 24-4EZFA. 24-4 EZFA. There we go. And thank you, Cindi, so much for being here. And yeah, I think
this was a great
being joyful is a mindset, and just like anything, you got to practice and bring your pets if it makes you feel happy.
We're joyful.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.